All right, guys. So if there are no questions on the assignments, we'll pick up where we left off on Friday. Now we look at this here, write an equation of the parabola shown. Now they do show us that the vertex is at the point 0, 0. And the other piece of information they give us is the directrix. So we have this straight line going across. Now this line, the directrix crosses at the value y equals 3, yes? Because that's where y is equal to 3. Well, that whole equation is the equation of the line y equals 3. Because y equals is going to be a straight line going across. X equals is a straight line going up or down. Now, given this information, looking back at the general information that we were given, which one deals with the directrix of y equals? Which of the two general forms has a directrix of y equals a number? One that is y equals 1 over 4p parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Now, what do we know about the values of h and k? What is the value of h and the value of k? It's the vertex, the values of the vertex. Well, what are the values of the vertex? So h is 0 and k is 0. Now, the directrix we have is y equals what? K minus p, yes? So that's just by definition what the directrix is. Directrix is equal to, is y equals k minus p. Well, what do we know about k minus p? It's equal to what? Yeah, because k minus p equals 3. Well, we know that because the directrix for this equation, for this parabola, is the line y equals 3, yes? So k minus p should equal 3. Now, exactly, we know that the value of k is what? So we can say 0 minus p is equal to 3. And the reason we're doing this is because the only thing left in the equation that we don't have is what? P, the value of p. Because once I find the value of p, I will have the entire equation. Well, really what we have here is what? That negative p is equal to, so what can we do? We can divide by -1 or multiply by -1, which tells us p is equal to. So we can plug it back in. Any questions on this here before we write the equation? Well, the first one, we have 1 over 4 times -3. Exactly, or we can say -1/12. What is x minus 0? Just x, yes? And it is mean what? Squared, so we have x squared. Plus 0. So the equation of this parabola is the equation y equals negative 1/12 x squared. That's it. That's all we have to do for this here. Questions on this here? We ready for the next one? What's the value of the vertex? Zero comma zero, yes? This time they told us what the directrix is. So this will be the exact same as the one before. And there's two main ways we can get this. One, we can go off the fact that the directrix is y equals, or the fact that y equals x squared is a parabola that's either going to go up or going to go down. The x equals 1 over 4p times y minus k squared is actually going to be a parabola that either opens to the left or to the right. It's going to open to the sides. So when we look at this here, if I want to write the equation 1 over 4 times p, well, what's the value of p? Do we know? It wasn't directly given to us, but we know it should be somewhere in the negative 2.5. Parentheses x minus, what's the value of h? 0, because that's our h. Plus, because again, the value of k came from the vertex. The value of h and k came from the vertex. So we do know the directrix, y equals, well, that would be our what? K minus p. So we know that k minus p is equal to what? Negative 2.5. Questions on how we found the value of p? So to get the equation, we're going to take 2.5 and plug it back in. What is 4 times 2.5? Now, if this had come out to be a decimal, we would have to simplify it because we don't leave a decimal or a fraction in a fraction. We don't like that. We won't leave it that way. But here, it worked out to give us a whole number. X minus 0 squared is x squared. And plus 0 doesn't mean anything. So we're just left with y equals 1 over 10, or 1/10 times x squared. And that's it. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. Directrix equals, or directrix is x equals negative 3. What is the general equation we're using? 1 over 4p parentheses y minus k squared plus h. What variables inside the parentheses? What variables inside the parentheses? Because we do have 2, but our main one is y, yes? Y is dealing with what? Up or down or left and right? Up and down, yes? So the vertex, h and k, which one deals with our vertical? Up and down. K, yes, because y and k would go together, yes? So I have y minus k on the inside. Really, our horizontal left and right is dealing with the x. And the other equation, what do we have inside? X minus h. Those will go together. Y is outside, k is outside. Here, x is outside and h is outside. So we have it here. Well, for number 5, they did. Well, they just told us they're directrix. Did they tell us the vertex there?
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah.
Well, not there, but up in the main part of the problem, it says the vertex is 0, 0. You got to read the directions. So that means, well, we don't know exactly what P is, but probably is going to come from right there. But I know the value of H and K. They are both 0. And this part here is where you do need to be careful, especially with this one. Once we look at chapter 2.32, what we're going to start tomorrow, when the vertex is not 0, 0, we have to be careful when we plug it in. Because it's very easy to plug the H value inside parentheses and K outside because that's what we're used to doing. But here the H and K are switched from what we're used to. So we need to make sure we plug it in into the correct spots. Well, directrix, really this is, so it's telling us that H minus P is equal to, what is H? So we're saying negative P is equal to negative 3. Well, if negative P is equal to negative 3, P is equal to 3. I changed the sign of P, which means I changed the sign of 3. So we get P is equal to 3. Well, 4 times 3 is? And we have this here. Because y minus 0 is just y, and it's being squared. Questions on this here? All right. We ready for the next one? Well, okay, so they told us the vertex is 0, 0. Now they tell us the focus is negative 2, 0, yes? Now, when we look at either one of the general forms, I'll write them up there, here on the board. I'll erase them here. But the vertex is H comma K, no matter which one we use, yes? Now, the one that is y equals has a focus of H comma K plus P, yes? And when we have x equals, the focus is H plus P comma K, yes? Well, with y equals, the focus is y value changes from the vertex. Because for the focus, for y, I have H and H. Those are the same, yes? For the y value of the focus, it's K plus P, where for the vertex, it's just K. So if I'm looking at the vertex in focus and the y values have changed, it means we're dealing with the y equals formula. Now, if we look at the x equals, well, I have H, and here I have H plus P. It could go up, it could go down, depending on the sign of P. But the x value of the focus changes when it's x equals, but the value of K stays the same, yes? So looking at this here, well, the vertex is told to us to be what? 0, 0. So which one's changing from the vertex of the focus, the x value or the y? The x is the one that's changing, yes? Because what's the x value of the vertex? What's the x value of the focus? Negative 2. What's the y value of the vertex? Y value of the focus. So which one changed? X. So looking at the general equation, vertex is always going to be H comma K, yes? So when we have the y equals 1 over 4p parentheses x minus h squared plus k, which value of the focus is changing, the x or y? For here, y equals, the focus is h comma k plus p. So for this here, which value is changing, the h or the x or the y? The y. So is this the one we're using? No, it's not the y equals. Let's look at the x equals 1 over 4p, parentheses x, y minus k squared plus h. Which one's changing? So which one am I using? So I'm using the x equals because the x value of the focus is changing. So that means I'm going to be using the x equals 1 over 4p, parentheses, y minus k squared plus h. So to figure that out, did I really do any big calculations? No, because I looked at what the focus and the vertex was. Which value is changing? Well, here the x value is changing. Look at our general equations, what they told us. Okay, for y equals, well, the vertex h comma k, focus h comma k plus p. The y value is changing. Well, that's not this one. Looked at the other one, h comma k, h plus p comma k. Okay, that is the one that works because it's that h value or x value of the focus that is changing. Well, do we know what the value of p is quite yet? No, but we will. What's the value of k? Value of h? 0. Now, the x value of the focus is where p is located, yes? Because in the focus we have h plus p comma k. So what is h plus p equal to? Plug in what we know. What's the value of h? 0 plus p is equal to, or p is equal to, x is equal to, and that's it. Questions on this here? We ready for the next one? Focus is 0 comma 3/2. And they tell us the vertex is the point 0 comma 0. Yes, because the y value is changing from the vertex to the focus. So we're looking at y equals 1 over 4p parentheses x minus h squared plus k. We don't know what the value of p is yet. But we know the value of h is 0 and the value of k is 0. Does anybody have a guess at what the value of p is? So let's see. So 3/2 is where p is located, yes? And according to the general form, k plus p is equal to that value of the focus, yes? Mm-hmm. So the value of k is 0 plus 3 is equal to 3/2, so p is 4 times 3/2 is? So y is equal to 1/6 x squared. And that's it. Questions on these here? Now, hopefully what you've been noticing with these here, now we've been doing a whole bunch of calculations today or Friday. Now, we've been doing a whole lot of complicated mathematical operations. Well, what have we done? Well, k plus p equals 2/3, yes? Because we've set up and solved. Friday, we had to do some division and moving some numbers around, but that wasn't anything more than you've done in Algebra 1, isn't it? Solving literal equations, get one of the variables by themselves. But that's it. And once we get it, so Friday, once we got it into the form that matched up to the general equation, we just matched up what was the same. 1 over 4p in our fraction, or the number in front of x squared. Set them equal, solve. H and K, we just matched it up. And that's it. So really, when you're looking at this, especially the homework, really be referencing back to our general equations, the general forms of either one, and seeing which one do they match up to, and how can we find what we need, values of H, K, and P, and solving for the rest. So you do have the rest of the class time to work on this here.